Lala Legacy, and welcome back to another episode of 1000 Lies. So before we jump in, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because that would mean the whole world to me. And after this video, if you liked it, hit that like button too. Alright, let's get into this. Lucy acts cocky as the countdown proceeds. Then she gets into position, prepared to shoot at anything that moves. There we go. But as soon as the game starts, she can't even react. She loses her grip, letting her shoulders drop as she tries to comprehend the situation of the video game. It's not that the game's too hard. She didn't forget how it works either. It's just that the enemies are dying before she ever has the chance to see them. Deniz stands sideways, stretching his arm out and aiming with only one hand, stepping on his pedal to reload during short breaks with his right foot. Ziva holds her gun close to her eyes and aims with incredibly high precision without actually losing any speed in the process either. And finally, I, with a more orthodox stance that's no less effective, use my weight to help step on the pedal using the least amount of time necessary, optimizing my time so that I can attack and advance as quickly as possible. The loud noises from the shooting make every other sound seem quieter. None of us are using only one shot per enemy, but as many as we can manage. That way, we could try to get the largest amount of points possible. Each of our screens are cleared at a dramatic speed, while our scores are illegible from their numbers increasing non-stop. We soon reach the first level's boss, a jerk whose attacks don't even reach us before they're stopped. A moment later, his health bar goes down to the bottom, giving us the first of many victories that await us ahead. The screen then shows us the number of kills and points we got during level 1, delivering truly unbelievable news. 3 of us got the exact same score. And Lucy, well, couldn't even pull the trigger in the few seconds during which all of it took place. What the? Didn't you say you were going to humiliate us? I don't even know what happened. How many hours have you guys dedicated to this game to be able to play like that? It's been a long time since the last time I played, but a fair bit back in the old days. Not that many at all, but I've always had good aim and I really enjoy these kinds of games. It's all about rhythm, I've told you before. You're all pulling my leg, right? Next round starting, get ready, and remember that even if someone kills your target before you, you can still get points from hitting the enemy before it disappears. Don't start yet! I can't get a hold of this that quickly! Hey, Claire, do you understand anything? Are you talking to me? What do you mean? Those 3 in this game. Do you know anything about this? From what I know, the game isn't that hard if you know where the enemies spawn. It's not so much skill as it is memory. That doesn't change the fact that it's hard to stay alive and how important it is to miss a shot or lose a life if you don't want to break your combo. When the combo multiplier is higher, you get more points from each kill, but it'll go back to 1 once your combo breaks. This far into the game, if one of them misses even a single shot, it means they'll lose. That's not exactly what I was talking about, but I guess it's good to know too. Don't tell me that you also know how to play the game, Claire. What do you think? The game continues the same as it started. Lucy manages to get some points from time to time. She even gets used to the fast pace and manages to get some combos that not just any novice would be able to pull off. But her renewed sense of confidence comes with a price when, while fighting against the next boss, she doesn't take cover before a huge explosion. What was that? The red flash means that you've lost a life, but you still have 2 more left. I already noticed that part. I meant that attack. It was incredibly unfair. What did you expect after shooting all those red barrels? Everyone knows that red barrels always explode when you attack them. If it's that obvious, then why do enemies always walk near them at every damn opportunity? That's a mystery that will never be solved, Lucy. We deal with the other bosses, one by one, without too much of a hassle until we reach the last level. From here on out, all of the different areas become narrow and full of enemies. We're all showing signs of fatigue, and we'll have to improve our focus if we want to put on a good show. Then there's a moment where our characters split up into two groups and take different paths. So what Deniz and Ziva see on their screen is different from what Lucy and I see on ours. This would be a good opportunity to get some extra points over those two if it wasn't for the fact that even though our paths are different, we're still fighting in the same place against the same enemies. That, however, gives me an idea. His outstretched arm gives him away. Even if Deniz is the player farthest away from me, from the corner of my eye I can see the movements of his arm going right and left depending on where the enemies come from. Thanks to my memories of this game, I start counting all of the enemies that appear without having to look away from Deniz's arm. It's then that I see it, the enemy that appears on my screen, but because he's behind some boxes on the left, he's hidden from the players using the other screen. He's coming directly at me and it won't be long before they can see him too. I could shoot it and get some points, but I have another idea. I switch weapons and equip the shotgun while I look at Deniz's arm sideways. He goes up, then down, then left, and finally right. I try not to shoot until the second his gun stops moving, the very moment I see the signal that he's about to shoot, and then... I fire at the enemy's chest, pushing him back at the very moment he appears on the other screen, forcing Deniz to miss a shot by the skin of his teeth. There goes my combo, you got me there. This is now a game for two. I wish you luck, but that doesn't mean we won't keep rocking anyways, right, Lucy? The entire group is amazed. They don't understand that it was me who forced Deniz to miss, except for one person, the last opponent I have left to defeat. Ziva chuckles as she realizes that this game has just become a battle between her and me. The pressure from the last part of the game doesn't hinder us as our scores continue increasing. On the contrary, it motivates us to be the best that we can and extend past our limits. When we finally reach the final boss, it seems like it's impossible to stop us, and our only fear is the tied scores we're going to get unless something changes. Right before the coup de grace, I think, that inconceivable change actually happens. I'm sorry, Indian. Her voice is natural and calm. She takes a second and inhales deeply before shooting one last time. It's not the coup de grace of finishing the great evil final boss, but another character. Mine. My screen flashes red for half a second, but that color sticks in my mind for what seems to be an eternity. It's the signal that I've lost a life, that I've been hit and lost my combo. This signal that I lost my chance at a perfect game at the very moment that I was about to finally put an end to this game. The credits roll and everyone but Ziva looks at the final video perplexedly. She, in fact, is covering her stomach while trying to contain her laughter the best that she can. What did you think of that? It's a small trick you could do right before the ending. A glitch where you could KO one of the other players. Pretty cool, huh? I'm livid. I stare at Ziva despite the fact that she's trying to evade eye contact. Wait, does that mean that you won and Ciar's in second place? Wasn't that impossible anyways? I can't believe that you cheated right before the end of the game, Ziva. It wasn't so much cheating as it was a great prank. And only a moment ago, I didn't believe that you could do something like that to Ciar. It's great, don't get me wrong, but it was unexpected, girl. Come on, whether or not I got a perfect game isn't important. For me, success comes from us having played it together. The rest are all minute details. Also, not everything is how it seems, so don't speak so prematurely. Ziva gestures to her left with a head movement. We redirect our attention back to the screens where the credits are finally coming to an end. And once they're done, the leadership and point scores appear, showing that I'm the winner and have the first position. What you saw was a graphical error. It might have seemed like I shot you, but I didn't actually. In fact, the only one that lost points there was me for shooting a player character. I could never betray you, India, and you know that, right? Her hands intertwine behind her while she puts on a wide smile, surrounded by a silence created by the two of us. Everyone around us laughs, or gets surprised, and nobody can believe what had happened. Ziva was just teasing me. A small prank, a childish game that everyone treats as such, except me. I throw a really strong punch to the arcade machine's side with my fist, managing to make it stagger a little despite its size. The whispers stop. Everyone feels intimidated and somehow scared when they witness a side of me that they've never seen before. Or that's how it appears. My demeanor changes after a few seconds. Damn, that really hurt. I cover my hand and wince in pain. What are you staring at? I nearly broke my hand. I'm a sore loser, so I had to vent it somehow. I really believed that I'd lost for a second, you know. I think I may even be bleeding. Am I stupid or what? I'll go to the bathroom and rinse it with water or something. Be right back. They ask if I'm alright, but I insist that it's nothing and my attitude was just the work of my bad temper and competitiveness wreaking havoc. I promise them that I'll return in a couple of minutes, rejecting the kind offers of those that wish to accompany me. And while I walk away, I wonder if they believed any of those excuses. Because I sure didn't. After coming out of the bathroom, I sit down on one of the benches in the shopping mall, watching people pass by. I don't have any actual interest in returning to the gloomy arcade. The skylights on the high ceilings shine down upon people as if they're stars on a concrete firmament, except for the pale skin of a girl who's always shielded under her hat and is able to follow me until the end of the world. How are you, Ciar? Good, thanks for your concern. My dry answer cuts off any possible dialogue despite being entirely unintentional, so I try to break the ice with a joyful tone. Although, I don't know why you asked. Didn't you say before that you could read me like an open book and that I can't deceive you? I was trying to be polite. I'm a bona fide lady after all. I'm surprised that you haven't realized that yet. You're good at hiding it. Boo! If you act like that, then I'll leave. I chuckle and make some space on the bench so Claire can sit next to me. She does so, and after clearing her throat, she keeps talking and trying to sound more adult than her appearance would lead you to believe. While we're at it, I'm going to show you what I meant when I said that you can't hide anything from me, because I never lie and I'm tired of you always asking me so lately. For starters, right now you aren't worried about yourself or what the others may be thinking about your sudden mood swing. You're only worried about Ziva. I dedicate a sideways yet sharp glare to Claire, but she ignores it and keeps picking my brain apart. There's nothing that has changed. Feelings that you didn't take seriously before now, to be precise, Ziva's feelings for you. You don't know what those feelings mean or what they'll bring since you two have completely different views of what makes up a perfect world, what everything entails. I can't get used to this. It must be a joke when the crazy, innocent, and absent-minded girl suddenly becomes the serious and hits me straight in the gut with her painful honesty. I defensively fold my arms in, frowning a little and trying to bring down the immovable, mysterious wall that surrounds her, despite my past records of failure. And what about you, Claire? Are you okay with all of this? Yeah, you're right. I can't stay quiet about it. But you should understand that there's no love without empathy, which in turn is the first step for sacrifice. Being able to give and reject anything that special someone is also, or for that special someone, is also one of the rules of love, no matter how unfair it may seem. Curiously, Ziva said the same thing not too long ago. I wasn't trying to say anything you didn't already know. I was just reading your thoughts after all, wasn't I? And you aren't worried about what you saw? I don't just mean my worries about Ziva, but about how I might feel about her. Of course, but there's nothing I could do. Because I'll never be able to understand what even you don't. I quickly tap against the floor with one of my feet, even more bewildered than when I'd originally started this conversation. However, Lucy is the one who, as noisy as always, appears during the middle of our dialogue, relieving me of my sudden extreme discomfort. Hey, wait, here you are, schmuck. We were starting to think that you'd left without saying anything again. What are you two doing here? Next time you should bring him back even if you have to drag him, Claire. I'm sorry, we were talking and I lost track of time. My fault. Were you guys worried back there or what? Not in the slightest. We were just surprised by how you acted, but we're all human after all. Ziva was actually the first one to forget about it. Now she's beating everybody's asses at pool. Sometimes I think we should have that woman, beatified? In my case, I was bad-mouthing you this entire time instead. You're telling me that so casually? Don't exaggerate it. It's just that you're just a nasty piece of work. I'm being serious, though. Do you remember, for example, when the other day during the committee meeting she took Claire and I out with her? I thought she wanted to tell us something privately, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. She looked at me for a couple of seconds with those big eyes of hers and thanked me, that's all. I thought it was really weird at first. It really seemed like she was speaking from her heart. All that for helping her with the committee and bringing Lazy Deniz there for once. I wanted to believe that it meant more, but I guess she's just like that. She has this thing where she's more worried about the group than herself. Don't ask me why it's like this, but it's part of her. I dare say that she takes it farther when it comes to you, Ciar. That's why I said those things earlier. The only weird person here is you. Running away from everything like you're as good as Houdini. You should tell Ziva what's bothering you. There's nothing bothering me. Why do you think that I didn't mind when you left the party without saying anything first? I can't be the only one realizing this, right, Claire? I have a pretty good idea of what you're saying. Then you've also reached the same conclusion. I knew it wasn't just my imagination. What are you ladies even talking about? Running away from the basketball match, hurriedly leaving the committee, leaving your own birthday party, and I've even heard that from time to time you've played hooky when given the opportunity. I wasn't born yesterday, you know. I asked around and found out that you know how to swim, and even if you didn't, I couldn't accept that someone could drown in a private pool as if they were a ton of bricks. Everything made sense when I saw you in that Speedo. I'm talking about that scar you have on your leg. That's the real reason that you can't swim. If there's one thing that I've learned about you up till now, it's how prideful you are. You don't want to tell anyone what kind of accident you got in to get that injury, but it's obvious that it wasn't anything normal. It hurts a lot, right? You don't want anyone finding out, so you come up with stupid excuses when it becomes unbearable, and you always try to get away when you can. No explanations given. Am I very far from the truth? I shake my head in denial, peering towards the scar, although I can't see it under the fabric of my pants. No, you're right. Too right, to be honest. Well, I'm not stopping there. I could even tell you where exactly you had that accident. It was at the abandoned library in the ruined wing, close to that piano, am I right? The library? A piano? A shiver runs all throughout my body. Both my hands clench against my knees as I hear Lucy mention that place. How did you know? Who told you that, Lucy? No one. I figured it out by myself by thinking about it. I could deduce that much solely from your behavior. You kept insisting that I needed to be careful and not go too far away from the library, that there's one time you were looking for me, but then you laugh your ass off talking about how you almost killed a teacher during a desk race, or when the police caught you stealing a car. Ziva was the one who told me that about the desk race if you were worried, but don't think that was a secret. What I don't get is why you're so worried about others finding out. You shouldn't be embarrassed, you know. I chuckle. I never would have imagined that I'm so predictable. It's not embarrassment, Lucy. I can't stand when people look at me with pity or give me that condescending special treatment you get when people find out that you're different. It's convenient, sure, but maybe too convenient. After all, you can claim that all of your mistakes are because of your handicap. It's an ace you can keep for any situation. If I get angry, it's not my fault, but that of the pain in my leg. If I'm mistaken, it's not my fault, but that of the pain in my leg. If I run away, it's not my fault, but that of the pain in my leg. There are excuses that will make you weak. You won't learn anything as long as you have a scapegoat. Even if there are times when I wish I could blame all of my problems on one single cause, it simply can't be that way. Even if the pain from that day tortures me and follows me everywhere without ever dulling, I can keep walking the same path as you or even anyone else. My condition isn't so bad as to cause me to become a burden or a victim, and I could never accept it if that happened. Just like you said that one other time, it wouldn't be fair, not to me nor anyone else. Is that true, Ciar? Is it really that important? Listen to this girl, Ciar. I'm sure you're just overthinking it. No one is going to treat you like an invalid, or even if we did, then you just have to deal with it. It's not anything to start crying over. You really don't know how to treat others with compassion, do you? That's your fault. The way you're handling this irritates me, and that's because it reminds me of myself. I'd like to tell you to stop being so wishy-washy about this, that you should let us know when you're hurting, to stop being so roundabout over things that don't even matter much. But I'm not one to talk. I'd be first to hide even the most stupid of things just because I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea, so you're off the hook for now. But I think you should at least talk to Ziva. She's someone you could trust, so don't give it too much thought, even if she can get a little annoying with her psychoanalysis and endless ranting. Maybe, but only when the time is right. Lucy's response is accompanied by her putting her hands on her hips and leaning to the side like she does whenever she's unconvinced. I don't trust you, not at all. Stop being boring and do what I tell you for once. I'm not boring. Then prove it. You've become so predictable that I'm not surprised by anything you do anymore. I'll definitely give you a really nice surprise one of these days, woman. Excuse me. Also, you already know that I don't go back on my word once I've committed to it. Lucy laughs. I'd like to believe that all of this was just her way of trying to cheer me. If that really is the case, she's succeeded. Well, shall we go back now? Shall we go back now? I stand up and call out to Claire, who's been deep in thought for a while for some unknown reason. In the end, the three of us return to the underground arcade and the committee is reunited once again, with the objective of having fun. Ziva greets me enthusiastically. It's as if she forgot about my outburst earlier. I can't remember the last time I saw her like this. It's making me wonder what I know about her and what she means to me. But it might be a little too late to question that now. Oh boy, he's starting to question his feelings. Aussie bud, I was signaling you to you for the entire class. Why didn't you help me? Signaling? What do you mean? I didn't see anything. I nearly kicked your chair so that you'd notice. I forgot my glasses today and the teacher asked me to solve a problem on the chalkboard I couldn't even see. Was it that difficult to help me? I didn't notice anything. It couldn't have been that bad, Companero. Stop complaining. He's punishing me with over 100 morphosyntax analysis for homework. Once you start it, it's not so bad. In 3 different languages. All you need to do is copy and paste them, but change some words. One of them is Etruscan? The hell is that? I don't know, that's why I'm complaining. In any case, it's your own fault, Companero. You should have told him that you can't see without your glasses. Well, I was also sleeping for the first 40 minutes of class, and that might have influenced it a little, but that's not the issue right now. I wanted you to at least give me a hand. Did you really not notice that I was trying to get your attention? If you're sitting next to me, then it's for a reason. Seriously? I repeat, I didn't notice anything. Not even that you weren't wearing your glasses. This is just a hunch that I've had for a while now, but Aussie, can you read what's on the chalkboard from here? My classmate fixes his eyes on the letters that sit unerased upon the green background, and after a few seconds, he squints his eyes as he tries to decipher the content. Aussie, don't tell me that you're nearsighted and I didn't know it. What are you talking about? My eyesight is perfect. The board has math equations on it. You know, the usual. Our last class was Spanish. That explains how I got a direct object when solving for X. How the hell have you managed to pass until now? And that's why I used my break to go home and pick up my glasses. It took longer than I'd expected, and now I can't go back to school since the next class has already started, so now I'm wasting time. You're such a delinquent, Ciar. This is the second time I've caught you playing hooky. Claire nods, convinced after having listened to my recollection. This morning, I ended up missing some classes because I decided to skip school to get my glasses. And to my surprise, well, I'm not really surprised anymore. Claire had the same idea. You could say that we're both delinquents. I've already explained the reason that I'm here. Now it's your turn to tell me why you're here. A walk! I can already see that. I meant to ask you why you aren't in school like all the other students. I'm not going to school makes you weird, including you? Well, that explains a lot of things. Your answers are always so weird, Claire. That's because I answer your questions, Ciar. A few weeks ago, this would have driven me crazy, but now I accept it as if it's an expected part of everyday life. Yet another coincidental encounter with Claire that I still refer to as such, despite the fact that I'm sure it had nothing to do with luck. I must admit that I didn't expect to meet her here today, though. I usually find her in the afternoon elsewhere, so meeting her here on a morning during the school day, it's happened once before, but I really believe that was just a coincidence. Today isn't going to be a normal day, not even by the standard I've gotten used to since the day that I received the first email, and that's something I could confirm from the moment she makes the following proposal. Hey, Ciar, want to go to the library? It's hard for me to digest her words at first. I'm not sure which library she means, and if it's the one I'm thinking about, then I don't know how she knows about it. But I immediately recall that she was with me at the mall when Lucy had been talking about my leg in the accident, and then there's also the chance that she'd been following me around like she usually does. There's nothing to see, and I'm pretty sure you already know the place. True, but it's different if we go together. She's concise with a tender, calm attitude that makes me want to accept her request without thinking it over, but I hold my tongue a bit longer. I know you well enough to know that you're going to do whatever you want despite whatever I say, so I don't mind leading you there, but... Blah blah blah, you're always moaning, Ciar. Is that place so important that you won't show it to me? Didn't you have an accident there anyways? I can't believe you'd go to a place with bad memories attached to it so often. That's why I'm interested in going with you personally. That's exactly why You can't leave your past behind, so you always end up returning to that place, am I right? I glance away from Claire. But that has changed. What up until now was an empty, gloomy place is no longer that way, correct? I think of Lucy. Since we made that deal, we've been meeting at the library almost every day to the point it's become a habit. But I tried not to think about her any longer since Claire is standing in front of me, and I don't think it'd be appropriate since she could get the wrong idea. That's not the point. There were certain circumstances. There's no going back. What was once yours isn't any longer. Losing it or sharing it, your choices are decreasing. But paradoxically, it has opened a new world up for you. It allowed you to meet someone. Even the smallest of actions can open an unexpected door, and that's exactly what I want to do. I want to know who you truly are, Ciar, more so than the concepts in my mind, and in exchange, I'll tell you everything that you want to know. I'll answer each and every one of your questions you're always asking. I scratched my forehead, unsure whether or not I understand Claire's intention. Hell, I'm not even sure I understand a single word of what she's saying when she gets this way. I feel a certain mysticism emanating from her every time our conversation drifts into this incomprehensible chatter, as if covered by a thick fog that somehow draws me deeper within it. It's close. Like having the answer on the tip of my tongue. It only needs to take form. It's as if all of the secrets of this world are slipping right through the space between my fingers. You win. Let's go now. Great! It's so easy to manipulate you, Ciar! Don't make me regret it already. I'm kidding, dummy! Are you, though? Cheerful and ruddy, Claire spins around as she tries to view the totality of the room all at once with her retinas. A bright expression placed across her face as if she's remembering the best moments in her entire life. The last part is a hunch that only grows more and more likely the longer I watch her. She walks around the tables and explores all the shelves with the passion of a treasure seeker that already knows exactly where to find their loot. She opens all of the doors she finds, only to close them again after taking a peek to see what was inside and nodding agreeably. This is fantastic, Ciar! I love it! I'm beginning to understand why you're so obsessed with this place. Don't think that everything here is awesome. I have to clean the place from time to time, and it doesn't have water or electricity or anything, really, but at least it's quiet. It's very quiet. It's so far away from the rest of the world that it gives you a lot of privacy, especially for doing it. Doing what? For the love of God, Ciar, you weren't born yesterday. You know perfectly well what I meant. Or would you like me to give you a demonstration of it right now? I choke on my own saliva, and in response, Claire loudly begins to laugh at me. Oh, what a coward you are, Ciar. I'll give you time. We've already agreed to a certain date, and I'll honor that. I'm not a coward, but you can't say things like, "Are you sure?" Claire grabs my neck and pulls me closer to her, then stands on the tip of her toes until we're face to face. Our faces are so close that we're practically kissing. Sparks fly out such that even a light breeze could set the room ablaze. But in the end, the kiss never happens. No destiny wanted to give me that push. It's her that, after a few seconds, embraces me, wrapping her arms around my neck and pressing her lips against my right ear. You're so cute when you're speechless, Ciar. She lets go, releasing me and taking a couple of steps backwards while playing with the ends of her skirt between her fingers. She looks at me and smiles, waiting for as long as she needs to. I don't need to hear her verbalize it to know exactly what she's thinking. The most important thing for me is to be truthful. I get distracted and sigh, looking away, and when I look back, she's gone. One of the doors is open, indicating that she went farther into the depths of the complex, getting lost in the labyrinth's gray hallways and forcing me to call out her name. She answers me. I can hear her voice resounding from every direction, but I can't find her behind any of the doors or corners. It's like a game, a round of hide-and-seek that plays out indefinitely. Our voices echo within the narrow spaces between the walls that extend out towards every direction. I'll never be able to find her unless I decide which path I must take. I won't reach anywhere if I don't stop and listen beyond the words, understanding the melodic whispers that could only originate from one place, the music room. That took a while, Ciar. Was it hard for you to find me? The melody is deafening. My mind becomes a blur as I recognize the well-known tune that Claire is playing on the piano. She lovingly caresses the keys with her long, slender fingers. With a satisfying motion, she releases the rest of the melody, sentiments from deep in her heart fluttering about. We could talk while I play, don't worry. I know the song so very well, by heart even. It's not a problem. Despite her invitation, I remain silent. I'm enthralled in memories, surprise, and the beauty of the morning sun reflecting on the gentle waves on her hair, surrounding her face and emphasizing her charming smile. Every time I play this song, I always ask myself the same question. Is this a sad or a happy song? Yes, it does appear to be melancholic in the beginning, but as the song goes on, it gets more difficult to discern if it's actually a mourning of the past or a ballad of the hopes or for the future. Some say that, depending on your mood or who you're with, your impressions of things may change. This feels like one of those cases where the song doesn't define the emotion, but the emotion is what defines the song. I don't reply, unable to find any answer in the way the notes are playing. I hear them clearly, but it's impossible for me to put them in any satisfactory pattern. Do you know the history behind this song? I shake my head. Of course not. There is none. People are always trying to find a deeper meaning behind everything around them, a story that transcends beyond ourselves and gives us meaning. It turns out that the composer made this piece when he was younger. He was ashamed of it for not being as good as his other works. He didn't publish it until many years after its conception, when he was a famous virtuoso, and a client wanted to take advantage of his fame. And now, oddly enough, this is his most famous composition, the one he'll always be remembered by. Claire's playing roughens up, increasing the pressure against the keys without losing her pace and speeding up her words as she speaks. I was named after this song for the peacefulness of the shining bright moonlight. The power we have to influence other people's lives is nearly inconceivable, to the point that for everything we're ashamed about, we can simply add expectations for the next generations long before they're ever born. That's why I so often wonder what the song is supposed to be asking of me. Who I should be to meet its expectations. Her knees begin to shake nervously and intensely, rubbing against each other restlessly while her hands continue playing without losing tempo. It scares me. I'm afraid of not knowing what I feel, afraid of not having control, afraid of the lies behind every decision I make. And while I observe everyone else being worried about what will happen after they die, I'm afraid of something even worse than death. I'm scared of life. The melody softens, poisoned with the unease that comes after a storm, followed by a great effort made by each and every cell in her body not to stop playing. It's not embarrassment. I simply don't want to shine. I want to be the background character that nobody cares about, talking and standing out just enough that no one notices me. That's why I hide. Or, at least, that's how it was until something changed. Someone appeared and destroyed the foundations that I'd built with so much effort. I lived in a boring, peaceful, gray world that was closer to death than life, but those feelings that I'd long ago forgotten about returned to me and once again began blooming inside me. Stupid, isn't it? The complaints of a teenager. After that, those ideas spread like a virus, taking a hold of a weak existence that can only express indifference for the world around it, immersing in its darkness and waiting, because it knows that this may be its last chance to find happiness. Anxiety, envy, jealousy, anger, rage, violence, disaster, being close to you have only awakened parts of me that are shameful, and I can't do anything about it because it's your fault. It's your responsibility. This is me, Ciar, the mediocre melody that fears to become a classic, that doesn't know which side of the spectrum it belongs to, and that only needs 3 words from you to be unafraid. You can make all that I represent disappear, or at least all that I've already accepted, if you allow me to. Her fingers slow down as they reach the end of the song. The air is thick and heavy. There's something in it that burns, irritating my throat to the point that I'm now totally speechless. When I look at her, she smiles like she always used to, like she always does. And I can't accept that. Not with those sad eyes. When the song ends, we can't say anything. It's always been like this, right? It doesn't matter what I think. She already knows it. The worst part is that no answer will suffice unless it's truthful. I'm sure about one thing, though. I'm sure about the tenderness she'd used to play that Debussy song. And all the lies I wanted to forget. Oh, my nose is stuffy because my fucking roommate is sleeping in the room and farting, and the smell is like permeating the entire fucking house. I watch the other side's entrance and sigh, still searching for the best words with the naivety of someone who thinks there's a correct answer. Standing next to me is Claire. After what happened in the music room, she left without a sound, forgetting what had transpired in only a second, without even allowing me to give my opinion on it. It was too late, she told me, then talked about going back to school and some other stuff. She invited me to go back with her, and although it took me a second, I said yes. However, despite her laughing innocently about it, it's obvious that she's unhappy with my answer. I have to say something before we part ways, but it feels unnecessary, but she interrupts me as soon as I try to open my mouth and speak. Thank you for accompanying me, Ciar. I inhale deeply through my nose and give up. Don't say goodbye so soon. I'll go inside too. Oh, hello. What? Why? What are you going to do? It's a school. What in the world can I do? Homework? No, I just want to use the washroom. I'm already late for my next class anyway, so I'm gonna take it easy in the meantime. You know the way, right? Good luck then. I gotta go since I'm in a hurry. See you, Ciar. I'm using the washroom. No luck needed. I can't finish my sentence before she's gone. She didn't even let me say goodbye to her. As I finish my duties, I hear the bell start to ring, so I decide to wait here for a little while until the students are done rushing around. It'd be a little weird if someone caught me and asked which classroom I'm from. Most people don't play hooky to go to another school on the other side of the street. I've already skipped 2 classes in a row, and by the time I get back, it'll be recess. Considering that, I'd prefer to skip the rest of the day and go home. When everyone's settled into their classrooms, I try to slip away, wondering what the stealthiest exit out of the building is. In my school, I would usually use the nurse's office window, but I'm not so sure that will work here since there's nowhere to go from the backyard. Still, without a plan, I see one of the teachers heading in my direction, forcing me to turn back and look for another way out of the school. When I think I'm safe, I see another teacher going up the stairs not too far away from me. Is it that hard for these teachers to be on time for their classes or what? This would all be totally normal if it wasn't for the fact that I immediately find myself surrounded by yet another patrolling teacher approaching me. This feels less and less like a school and more like Area 51. Without anywhere to hide, I stick close to the wall behind me until I suddenly feel a doorknob hitting against my kidney from behind me. I see this as an opportunity and I peek inside the small window attached to the door, praying that it'll be empty. But that's not the case. Inside, I find a normal classroom filled with students taking notes, but there is an empty desk in the last row. They're listening to the lesson of a teacher so old that I can't believe he's not retired. He seems to have rheumatism and keeps coughing while he writes on the chalkboard. There's no escaping now. I can't even think of a good excuse in case I'm found by the patrol, especially because of the incessant coughing of that teacher inside the classroom. And that's precisely what inspires me with an idea. It's so absurd that it might work, and under the huge pressure that's on me right now, I decide to put it into practice. But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys, so if you liked the video, hit that like button down below and don't forget to subscribe. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye!